Hello guys and girls, welcome back to the Racing Line for another circuit guide here on the channel. We are back for week 6 of season 2 2022 in the GT4 Challenge, the fixed series. Once again with me, driving the Aston Martin Vantage GT4. This week we're at Barber Motorsports Park for the halfway point of the season, and this circuit is one that I haven't actually driven that much, but I've had to drive quite a lot in the last couple of weeks, and it's great. I feel like you're going to enjoy this one. It's really fun to learn. The date and time is set to the 23rd of April 2022 at 2:30 in the afternoon. Ignore the overlay, that is just a misprint. Same format as before, breakdown lap followed by full speed uninterrupted lap followed by an offboard lap, and as usual this is filmed before the week has begun, so it's difficult to compare lap times, but let's see if we can help you guys find some time. So let's get started. We're going to be on the right hand side of the main straight as we approach the quite fast, deceivingly fast turn 1. Our braking zone is the number 2 board. We're going to get hard on the brakes and we're going to go down into 4th gear. Now watch as the camber dips away from us here, down into 4th, carry it in and then start accelerating out. It doesn't matter too much where your car is positioned on the exit, but you're going to brake at the end of that pit line on the left hand side. We're going to get hard on the brakes down to 3rd. You want to hold it tight all the way around this long right hand. You can see we're coasting through and just feathering that throttle to keep the power down, and once we feel comfortable we get back on that power in 3rd gear, come right out to the edge of the track, over to the right hand side as we come over to the brow of the hill. Just minimal steering inputs along this straight. Next braking zone is the traffic light just before the number 2 board. The number 2 board's slightly too late. It's going to be hard on the brakes from 5th down into 2nd gear, and you can see we might actually miss the apex a little bit at this point, but it was quite nice to carry the speed through. We got straight back on that power smoothly as the rear end can get a little bit twitchy through here. Climbed up through the gears, straight up into 3rd, straight up into 4th. We're on the left-hand side now for a really tricky corner coming up. We're going to do this in slow motion. Braking zone is in 2nd gear again, and we're going to go from 5th down into 4th gear. Now watch the inputs closely here. You can see half on the brakes down into 4th, coasting in, and we aim to hit this first right-hand side curve. We then dab the throttle before straightening up the car and braking on the 2nd curve down into 3rd gear and holding it tight to this right-hand apex and then getting straight back on that power as the camber pulls you in nicely towards the apex and lets you run nicely out to that curve on the exit. Flat out through here. You might need to do a slight lift mid-corner, as you just saw there, as the car can get a little twitchy and you don't want to 1x the lap on that grass on the exit. We very nearly did there. That's about as close as you can get. The next braking zone, once again, is the 2nd board on the right-hand side. Now, this is another tricky corner. Slow motion, hard on the brakes, down to 4th, get it turned into this first curb and then coast all the way through. A quick dab of the brakes to get the car pointed into this right hand side, and now we're back on the throttle, not full, but about 70-80%, and you will lose the rear end over that brow of the hill as you go over there and the car gets light. You can then take a big lift off to this final apex and you're looking for a break in the wall on the right hand side there. We're still in 4th gear all the way through there. When you see that break of the wall, we're going to brake in a straight line towards the outside of the circuit down into 3rd gear, trail braking in, just getting that car turned in over to the right hand side before we take one big lift off to get it turned into that final left hand apex, and then across the line in 4th up into 5th gear to cross the line and finish the lap. And that is a lap of Barber Motorsports Park. We're going to go through that again, this time full speed uninterrupted, to go over what we just went over. So on the main straight, we're on the right hand side looking for the number 2 board, dab the brakes down into 4th gear, get it turned in, coast in, get back on that power, pit line on the left hand side, hard on the brakes, down to 3rd, hold it tight to the right hand side, feathering the throttle all the way around, just coasting in and carrying that speed. Now we feel comfortable. You can see a little curve on the right hand side there. You should definitely be accelerating by that point. Hold it tight to the right hand side a little bit. You don't want to, it doesn't matter too much, you just basically don't want to scrub your tyres. Traffic light on the right, hard on the brakes, down to 2nd gear, downhill braking this is, keeping it tight, smoothly on the power. You can see there we weren't straight on the power, smoothly on the power and up through the gears. Get over to the left hand side now as we approach the right left right corner coming up. Number 2 board on the left, dab the brakes down to 4th, coast in, accelerate, car straightened up, hard on the brakes, down to 3rd, get it turned in, start accelerating now from the apex point as the track brings you in, just being careful to keep that rear end in check. Over to the right hand side now as we reach 5th gear, flat out through this left hander, maybe with a small lift as you bounce over the curbs. Really attack the curves and be careful not to run too wide because that grass will chuck you out. Number 2 board again, dab the brakes down to 4th, hit this first curb, coast in, dab the brakes to get it turned in, accelerate now up the hill, rear end gets a little loose, lift off to get it turned into this right hand side curve, braking the wall on the right hand side, hard on the brakes, braking to the outside, down to 3rd, and a nice wide angle into this right hander, avoid the inside curve there, and then as we get to the right hand side curve we're going to take a big lift off to get it turned into that final left and then accelerate down the main straight. That whole section needs to be broken down, so watch that part of the guide a few times to get that. But once you've got it right, it's going to feel amazing. As usual, that's pretty much it from me. I'm going to leave you with this offboard lap. Don't forget to keep those likes and comments coming in, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. We are approaching that 6,000 mark, which of course we greatly appreciate your support up until this point and beyond, with any circuit guides and other stuff that we do in the future. Like I said, that's pretty much it from me. If I don't see you on track this week, then I'll see you next week for the next video here on the Racing Line. Peace.